California's new governor, Jerry Brown, faces a $28 billion deficit and a state with the worst credit rating.
What's going on in Europe is just a precursor of what's going to happen in Illinois, New York, California.
Save our state! Save our state!
Well, states across the country dealing with budget deficits, huge budget deficits, and the big question is, how are they going to tackle them? Alabama has the added pain of the loss of revenue related to the BP oil spill. Outgoing Governor Bob Riley joining us now to talk about it. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. You're on your way out, but you have a very good perspective of what states like yours and your state are facing in terms of budgets and what's ahead. What's the outlook here? I mean, how do states get through this pain?
Well, there's not but one way to really get through this, and that's to make very, very strategic cuts. Comprehensive planning at this point is crucial to every one of the states. You can make these adjustments. We actually made most of these adjustments 7 or 8 years ago when we first came into office and actually asked the people of Alabama, do you want to increase taxes? Do you want to cut government? They voted and overwhelmingly said cut government. So we cut 25% out of every state agency, which is extremely difficult to do. But it allowed Alabama to get to the point today that we had made those cuts across the board, and at the same time we had a tremendous amount over the last few years of economic activity.
And that was 7 or 8 years ago. Looking now at the employment situation across the country, cutting government and cutting budgets, it means cutting jobs, and then you have even more people relying on state and federal unemployment benefits. So, do harder choices have to be made here? The taxes are just going to have to go up, and projects that states can't afford just have to be canceled?
Well, the one thing that we're convinced of today, we know we can't continue doing what we have done at the state level or at the federal level. You cannot keep spending trillions and trillions of dollars that you do not have. So I think the federal government is going to have to come in and begin to do exactly what the states are being forced to do today. We're going to have to become more efficient. Public employees do a great job, but on the other hand, if you have the capacity to cut 20 to 25% out of a state budget, then we should do it.
You've got to do it.
Absolutely.
Education. The state of Alabama hoping for federal stimulus money to put towards education. Do you think you're going to get what you're aiming for? How badly does the education system need that additional funding?
Well, if you look back over the last couple of years, what Alabama did is we made a strategic plan to not spend all of our money 2 years ago. What we did is pushed it forward, and we asked the federal government if we could do this, and they said absolutely. So it allows us to get through 2012. But after that, then there's going to be $500 million that's not going to be there, and we'll have to make the appropriate cuts. The amount of money that we had kept us from making those cuts 2 years ago and last year, but now we're back in a position where we're going to have to do what we could have done a couple of years ago.
And do you think you'll get enough federal assistance not to have to make those cuts? I mean, 2012 is 1 year away.
No,
you don't.
I do not believe that this Congress is going to allow these stimulus monies to come into the states the way they once did.
Finally, just a broader outlook here, looking at the state of the states. As you said,
Sure.
Alabama fiscally in a better position than other states that are just facing a disaster when they look at their budgets. If you were speaking to the president and to House Speaker John Boehner, what would you say to them in terms of getting this split Congress to work together and to work with the states? I mean, is this an issue that can be resolved given the state of the economy?
There's no doubt we can do it. What we're going to have to do is make sure that our taxes are low, that we have workforce development, job training programs that make us competitive with the rest of the world. We've done that in Alabama, and it's successful. If you can do it in a state, you can also do it in the United States.
You say make sure our taxes are low, but are Americans going to have to face the reality that many people around the world pay much higher taxes than we do in this country? I mean, might we have to bite the bullet and raise taxes?
It's according to what you're going to do with the money. If you're going to continue to do entitlement spending with that money, it's not going to improve the economy. It's not going to make us more competitive. If you put that money into education, into job training programs, if you put that into workforce development, then maybe you get that economic benefit. But if you're only going to continue to do what, to a large extent, we've done for a long time, I think it'll be very difficult.